Shalom. All praise and honor and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Rachakodash, Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father, whom the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahweh Shai being the name of his only begotten Son, whom this world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. In the name of the Holy Spirit, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and peace and mercy to the house of David, those men that are doing this work in sincerity and in truth, and much love to the 130 you believers out there, you men, women, and children that are listening, learning, and helping, in all sincerity and humility. To you all, I say shalom and greetings and Lord willing, this lesson is edifying through the Spirit. All right, so this was something that was on my mind earlier. It's something that just had randomly popped up, and I had thought about. I guess you paying bills and having money situations, so you start thinking of you might start thinking of where what all the different ways that you can make money or make extra money, right? And so one of the thoughts that came to my head was I started thinking about people that owe me money. You know what I'm saying? It just randomly popped up in my head. I started thinking of people that owe me money, and but then the scriptures. That's why actually let me get this scripture first, and this is why it's important to understand the scriptures. All right, this is let's see, Salakia. This is Wisdom of Solomon 6:16. I'll start at 15. It says, "To think therefore upon her to think therefore upon her is perfection of wisdom, and whoso watcheth for her shall quickly be without care. For she goeth about seeking such as are worthy of her, showeth herself favorably unto them in the ways, and meeteth them in every thought." You see, so wisdom is supposed to meet you in your thoughts. You might have a thought about something, and it might be on point, it might be through, but the wisdom is supposed to meet you there, right? When you sometimes you get a demon that try to hop on you, and like you smell some pepperoni or something, and you think like, oh, that smell good. Wisdom's supposed to meet you and say, well, no, that's defiled food, right? It's supposed to meet you in every thought and let you know how to direct your path and how to direct your steps. But like I said, as I was thinking about this scripture came to my head, right, about people that owe me money. All right, this is Deuteronomy 15:1. It says, "At the end of every 7 years, thou shalt make a release." You see, and so let's go into this word release here. Okay, the word is shamata. Shamata. Hold on. Yep, shamata. Okay, and it says letting drop of exactions, remitting or releasing from debt, or a suspension of labor. You see that? So you after 7 years of somebody owes you money, you're supposed to release that debt. You're supposed to say, "Hey, brother, you know, I've been come up. Hey, brother, it's done deal." I used to have. I'm sure I mentioned this on a lesson before, but like a long time ago. But I remember when I got two of my boys in the world. And I'm not even bringing this. Sometimes you just have to tell a story, not to talk about your friends or nothing bad, but sometimes you have to tell stories just to get the understanding of it. But I'll give the short version. So basically, when I was in school, I had a friend that owed me a few $100s. All right, and he said he was gonna pay me back. All right, and it was funny because my other friend, who's the jokester, he always like every time we get around each other, he called me by my worldly name, but he be like, by my nickname they call me, and he'd be like, "Hey, bro, you ain't gonna get your money back." He always makes that little joke. You know what I'm saying? And we haven't been together in quite some time now. Sometimes it'll be me and one of the friends or them two together. Stuff like that. But he'll always make that little joke whenever all three of us are around. And so had I known this in the world, you know, my mentality would have been different. But now we do have a time limit on when we can get money back from people. And so this is the law that you have to abide under when people owe you money. If they get past 7 years, hey, it's a done deal. It's that's over. Actually, let me read it in the NIV. It says, at the end of every 7 years, you must cancel debts. You see that? So I'm gonna keep reading on verse 2. It says, and this is the manner of the release. Every creditor that lendeth aught unto his neighbor shall release it. He shall not exact it of his neighbor or his brother, because it is called Yahweh's release. You see? So he's saying basically, if you got somebody that owe you money, you can't say, hey yo, your mom's gotta pay it or your brother gotta pay it. Somebody gotta pay this debt for him. Like, it don't work like that. All right? That's the Lord's release. The Lord's releasing that debt after 7 years. And really go back to completion. It's a done deal. You didn't get it within the time span. You know, and the scriptures talk about, let me see, recompense. And I almost know the verse, but maybe it'll just go for recompense and I can find it. I know it's in Ecclesiasticus. Is it the third? I think it's the third chapter. Let me just go. It's either the third or the 13th chapter, or 31st, something like that. Bear with me 1 second. I'm gonna grab it. 12. Okay, Ecclesiasticus 12:2. It says, do good to the godly man, and thou shalt find a recompense. And if not from him, yet from the Most High. So if you're not going to get something from man, the Lord is going to give it back to you. So you don't have to be worried about, oh man, the Lord's release is coming up in a couple weeks, and what I'm gonna do, I can't get this money back. Or even worse, so the release has already happened, and you're like, man, that money's gone forever now. But you're not even supposed to let it beat you up, because let's be real, if you can't get something in 7 years, that means the person who had to give it to you, I just really didn't have it. You know what I'm saying? But also, you gotta that shows the Lord's mercy. You know what I'm saying? After 7 years, you're not entitled to that financial debt anymore. All right. And I also talked about labor. I'm gonna get into that in a moment. But that shows the Lord's mercy that, somebody may not have been able to pay it back. And if they did, the really lesson is learned. What my father used to tell me, don't lend somebody money if you can't afford to not get it back. You see what I'm saying? Because it'll be people that you want to get the money to, and it might ruin your relationship with them. But if you just let it go, then it is what it is. But after that 7 years, hey, brother, it's grits. It's over. It's done data. All right. So let me go to verse 3. It says, of a foreigner, thou mayest exact it again. But that which is thine with thy brother, thine hand shall release. You see that? So it says, of a foreigner thou mayest exact it again. So if it's a heathen, all right, you can be like, hey yo, bro, I need my money. Right? But when it comes to an Israelite, all right, you can't do that. All right? I'm gonna read that one in the NIV too. It says, you may require payment from a foreigner, but you must cancel any debt your fellow Israelite owes you. You see that? So Esau Edom, and see what Esau Edom does. He'll tell you the narrative that we're all brothers and that we're all neighbors, but yet and still he doesn't abide by this law, right? As far as being brotherly and saying, oh, well, I'm not going to exact that among you. Esau will have you in debt for 50 years and not care about it at all. You see, that's how you know they're following the idea that, oh, these are foreigners, but they'll do it to their own people too. So they just all about the money. If they're Edomite, if it's an Edomite owned bank, and you get Edomites that come in there looking for a loan, they're not gonna release them from a debt after 7 years. They're gonna be like, nah, you gotta pay this off. Okay, and that's how even a lot of car loans and things like that will be getting shut down. 7-year car loans, 8-year car loan, even though that's pretty lengthy, but 8-year car loan, after 7 years, they supposed to be like, all right, whatever else you owe, you good now, But we know this is talking about mainly to Israelites though. Okay. So now I want to give it. So let me go back to the word release there. It had something specific, and I want to get a story about it. It says, or suspension of labor, right? Suspension of labor. Okay. So Now this made me think of one specific story that happened in the scriptures to our forefather. Okay. Um, Give me 1 second. Yeah, I'm trying to find the story. Let me type this 7. It's a lot of verses with 7, but there it is. There it is. Genesis 29. That's the chapter I want. Yep, Genesis 29. Okay, let me jump on this one real quick. This is Genesis 29, and let me start at verse 15. And Laban, some brothers say Laban, but Laban is probably more correct actually. Laban said unto Jacob, because thou art my brother, shouldst thou therefore serve me for naught? Tell me, what shall thy wages be? And Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah was tender-eyed, but Rachel was beautiful and well-favored. And Jacob loved Rachel, and said, I will serve thee 7 years for Rachel thy younger daughter. So he told Laban that he would serve him for 7 years just so he can take Rachel, right? And Laban said, it is better that I give her to thee than that I should give her to another man. Abide with me. So he's like, hey, I'd rather give her to you than give her with somebody else. So come on, stay with me. He says, and Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed unto him but a few days for the love he had unto her. See, so he loved her so much, it only seemed like a few days for them 7 years that he served. And it says, and Jacob said unto Laban, give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go in unto her. And Laban gathered together all the men of the place and made a feast. And it came to pass that evening that he took Leah his daughter and brought her into him, and he went in unto her. And Laban gave unto his daughter Leah Zilpah his maid for a handmaid. And it came to pass that in the morning, behold, it was Leah, and he said to Laban, what is this thou hast done unto me? Did I not serve with thee for Rachel? Wherefore then thou hast beguiled me? And Laban said, it must not be so done in our country to give the younger before the firstborn. Fulfill her week, and we will give this also for the service which thou shalt serve with me yet 7 other years. So ultimately, that 7 years, the reason why the 7th time was chosen, because that was the time for a debt supposed to be paid, right? So he said, I'll work 7 years for you, because after that you can't work. You're not supposed to be able to work more than that unless a slave chooses to stay with his master on his own, right? And I'll get that real quick. This is Exodus chapter 21 and verse 4. It says, if his master have given him a wife, and she have borne him sons or daughters, the wife and her children shall be her master's, and he shall go out by himself. And if the servant shall plainly say, I love my master, my wife, and my children, I will not go out free, then his master shall bring him unto the judges. He shall also bring him to the door, unto the doorpost, and his master shall bore his ear through with an awl, and he shall serve him forever. You see, so that's when the time of subjection is done. And actually, it's actually 6 years if you buy a Hebrew servant, right? But the 7th, that's what the 7th is, the year of release. You see? So it said, I'm going to read verse 2, Exodus 21 and 2. If thou buy an Hebrew servant, 6 years he shall serve, and in the 7th he shall go out free for nothing. So ultimately, that's what the 7th year was with Jacob, was to end up getting Leah too. But he was doing that for Rachel. And so he served another 7 years so he could ultimately get Rachel too, right? That's how much love he had for her. So he ultimately served 14 years of slavery to get a wife. This is how you know times are different now. Sheesh, not only are men not going to work 14 years for no woman, but also women in 14 years time nowadays, they doing all kinds of crazy stuff. They're not waiting for a man of honor to wait that out. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be loose in the pants. You know, so it's a different world we live in now. That love and that respect is gone away, and that humility and modesty and chastity and chivalry too. You know, that was y'all talk about chivalry. That was a chivalrous act. Jacob gave 14 years of his life for a woman. You see what I'm saying? 14 years, and without even getting a box. You see what I'm saying? But that was gonna be his wife, and she was gonna be one of the foremothers for the children of Israel. So all of this was preordained to happen through the spirit of power, Yahweh Shemel Shah. But ultimately, going back to my lesson, you know, that year of release is important, man. You know, because there's so many things that Esau neglects, so many things that are written in the scriptures um that the Lord wants to be known throughout the world. But he's going to have us magnify his name and magnify his word. All right. This is Deuteronomy 15 and 9. I just want to read this one. Let's see if it goes with it. It says, beware that there be not a thought in thy wicked heart, saying, the 7th year, the year of release, is at hand, and thine eye be evil against thy poor brother, and thou givest him naught, and he cry unto the Lord against thee, and it be a sin unto thee. So there you go. So you know that the 7th year is coming up, right? You know that the year of release is coming up. So you start hounding his ass. You know, bro, where my fucking money at? Let me start up actually. Deuteronomy 15 and 7. If there be among you a poor man of one of thy brethren within any of thy gates in thy land, which the Lord Yahweh thy power giveth thee, thou shalt not harden thy heart, nor shut thine hand from thy poor brother, but thou shalt open thine hand wide unto him, and shalt surely lend him sufficient for his need in that which he wanteth. Beware that there be not a thought in thy wicked heart, saying, the 7th year, the year of release, is at hand, and thine eye be evil against thy poor brother. And that's what Jacob do, man. They'll find a way to yiquap the scripture. But hey, the year of release next year, you know he owe you that $55. You know what I'm saying? So hey, you better get on him. And Jake, he already poor. He can't even afford nothing, and you hounding him about $50 funky dollars. You know what I'm saying? But that's his life. That's all he got to his name. You know? It says, and thine eye be evil against thy poor brother, and thou givest him naught, and he cry unto the Lord Yahweh against thee, and it be a sin unto thee. You see that? That's going to be a sin unto you if you hounding a poor brother, because he's crying unto Yahweh Shem Shah, like, Lord, I ain't got it. Like, I'm trying to be, good, but Lord, I don't have it. So it's going to be a sin against you. It says, thou shalt surely give him, and thine heart shall not be grieved when thou givest it unto him, because that for this thing in the Lord thy power shall bless thee in all thy works, and in all that thou puttest thy hand unto. You see, so this is why, like I said, like my father didn't know, he was speaking in the spirit when he said that. If you give it, if you got it, and if you can't afford to give it, then don't. You see what I'm saying? But it says, thou shalt surely give him, and thy heart shall not be grieved when thou givest unto him. So when you give money to a brother or somebody that ain't got it, you don't be like, damn, why did I do that? Damn, I needed that money. Damn, I made a mistake. You're not supposed to do that, because it says, because that for this thing, Yahweh thy power shall bless thee in all thy works. That's how you get a blessing, right? Does it not say alms deliver a man from death? And in all that thou puttest thine hand unto. All right? I'm going to read the next verse. It says, the next couple verses actually, for the poor shall never cease out of the land. Therefore I command thee, saying, thou shalt open thine hand wide unto thy brother, to thy poor and to thy needy in thy land. And if thy brother, an Hebrew man or Hebrew woman, be sold unto thee, and serve thee 6 years, then in the 7th year thou shalt let him go free from thee. And when thou sendest him out free from thee, thou shalt not let him go away empty. Thou shalt furnish him liberally out of thy flock, and out of thy floor, and out of thy winepress, of that wherewith the Lord thy power hath blessed thee, thou shalt give unto him. You see? And so another thing that Laban was trying to do, how Jacob yiquabbed him, he was trying to give Jacob some of the sheep, I believe. And so Jacob yiquabbed him and basically ended up supplanting them and getting the best sheep for himself. The ones that had blemishes, he was like mixing them together and having them procreate, and they were coming out with weaker and weaker ones, and he was getting the stronger and stronger ones. But that's really what Laban get. You see, I'm trying to think how it's quoted. It's like Rick Stricken. Let me type in Laban again. Let me see. Rick Stricked, I believe, something like that. But that was Jacob just getting back at him for Yaquab, because that was ultimately that was wrong what Laban did. Now he could have been right in what he said, but he should have said that straight up. He should have told that from the very beginning. All right, he should have ring straked. He should have told him that from the very beginning. All right, I'm about to read this real quick just for edification's sake. This is Job 30 and 31. It says, and he said, what shall I give thee? And Jacob said, I'll start at 30. For it was little which thou hast before I came, and is now increased unto a multitude, and Yahweh hath blessed thee since my coming. So Laban has been blessed since Jacob was there. It says, and now when shall I provide for my own house also? You see, he shouldn't even have to ask that. He should have automatically given him, supplication. All right, but I believe he did say, appoint yourself, I'll give it, or I'll give you something. And he says, oh, so what shall I give? He said, what shall I give thee? And Jacob said, thou shalt not give me anything. If thou wilt do this thing for me, I will again feed and keep thy flock. I will pass through all thy flock today, removing from thence all the speckled and spotted cattle, and all the brown cattle among the sheep, and the spotted and speckled among the goats, and of such shall be my hire. So shall my righteousness answer for me in time to come, when it shall come for my hire before thy face. Everyone that is not speckled and spotted among the goats and brown among the sheep, that shall be counted stolen with me. So he's like, those are going to be mine. And Laban said, behold, it might be according to thy word. And he removed that day the he goats that were ring straked and spotted, and all the she goats that were speckled and spotted, and everyone that had some white in it, and all the brown among the sheep, and gave them into the hand of his sons. And he set 3 days' journeys between himself and Jacob fed the rest of Laban's flocks. And Jacob took him rods of green poplar and the hazel and chestnut tree, and peeled white strakes in them, and made the white appear which was in the rods. See, he started finessing them. He's going to end up getting the pure ones, but he basically made it look like they were ring stricken, that they had the problems. He says he set the rods which he had peeled before the flocks in the gutters and the watering troughs when the flocks came to drink, that they should conceive when they came to drink. And the flocks conceived before the rods, and brought forth cattle, ring straked, speckled, and spotted. And Jacob did separate the lambs, and set the faces of the flocks toward the ring strake, and all the brown in the flock of Laban. And he put his own flocks by themselves, and put them not into Laban's cattle. And it came to pass, whensoever the stronger cattle did conceive, that Jacob laid the rods before the eyes of the cattle in the gutters, that they might conceive among the rods. But when the cattle were feeble, he put them not in. So the feebler were Laban's, and the stronger Jacob's. And the man increased exceedingly, and had much cattle, and maid servants, and men servants, and camels and asses. So he made him think that he was getting a better deal, but actually Jacob was. So, it's another reason you got to be careful about trying to get over on people. You know what I'm saying? Because it's going to come back. One way or another, it's going to come back. And actually end up Laban got pissed off after this. I'm not about the whole next chapter kind of goes into it even more, so I'm not about to read the whole thing, but Genesis 30 and 31 are good chapters to read. 29 through 31 actually. But my point is that year release, if you got people that owe you money after that 7 years, it's over. You can't get it back, especially if it's from an Israelite, just let it go. Shit, if it's from an Edomite, you just count it. That's the wicked. You should just count that gone. But if it's from a Jake, through the spirit of the Lord, you got to let it go. So, hey, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and peace and mercy to the house of David. Until next time, Shalom.